People, are you living or are you just existing? Are you complaining or are you going to conquer? Are you going to tremble or are you going to thrive? It makes no difference because right now you're tuned in to Derrick Live. Let's go! What's up, world? It's Monday, May 22nd, 2017, and I know I'm talking to some successful people out there. I'm talking to some wonderful, happy people out there. We thank you for joining the broadcast today. I thank you all. We just want to have Mondays as motivational Mondays. I'm talking to some people who want to be successful, talking to some people that have goals out there that want to strive to reach those goals. Today we're going to talk about this important topic, and the topic is the importance and elements of personal branding. I'm going to say that one more time for those joining live and those that are going to see the replay. The topic of tonight is the importance and elements of personal branding. And so we have a special treat today. And without further ado, I am going to go ahead and invite our guest to be on here so I can introduce him to all of the lovely people out here. 1 second, Pete, please. What do we have here? Yes, let's invite our guest right here.
Personal branding today. Motivational Mondays. I don't know about you, but I want to be motivated each and every day. So we have a special treat, and I am just excited about what's going to happen. I am so excited. We just want to say, hey, if you're working out there, I want to say I saw Matt Bader join. Thank you, Matt Bader, for joining. I appreciate it. How you doing out there in Oregon? Hope all is well. Ian Edwards. Sir, what's going on this evening?
There we go. What's going on, man?
We're doing all right, but you know what? I'm going to have to give you the proper introduction, okay? We can't just have you on here, just coming on here just live with no introduction. For those who don't know who the featured guest is today, we have a pastor, a life coach, a husband, a father, a friend, a fitness enthusiast. If you see his Facebook post, you see he's always in the gym. He wants to compete in some contest. Oh, and I also tell you, he makes some mean baked beans, too. I'm just trying to give y'all an introduction to a wonderful man. Today, I want you to put your hands together and welcome pastor and life coach, Ian Edwards. Come on, somebody out there.
Yeah.
What's going on, sir?
What's going on, man? Thanks for having me on your show.
Oh, man, no problem. You know, I was looking at your Facebook post. I got to tell the people why you're here. I was looking at your Facebook post from like a couple of weeks ago, and I can tell that you are about making sure people do whatever they need to do to be the best their best selves.
Right.
And so what was so interesting was you were talking about branding, and I thought branding was always attributed to just products, services, you know, what McDonald's and Chick-fil-A and all those other companies do to brand their products. But you had a unique spin on your message. You were talking about branding from actually your personal brand. You were basically saying before you have a product to offer, before you have a service to offer, you actually have a brand that is you. And you got to make sure that you're offering your brand, yourself, in the best way possible. So that's our mission tonight, Pastor. We just want to educate the people on the importance and elements of personal branding. And so for those who don't know you, the first thing we want to do so they can get to know you, who is Ian Edwards?
All right. Well, first of all, thanks for the introduction. Ian Edwards is he's father, he's husband, he's pastor, he's musician, he's artist, he's educator, he's mentor, he's big brother. He's fun, he's laughs, he's comedy. He's actor, and most importantly, Ian is Ian. And Ian knows who Ian is, and nobody can be Ian better than Ian.
Absolutely, absolutely. And so when we say about knowing yourself and striving to be the best individuals we can when it comes to personal branding, I do want to know what got you thinking about personal branding? Was there like an experience in your life that let you know, that let you realize that personal branding was important? When did you come up and with all this personal branding stuff? Can you tell the people that?
The more that when I started pastoring, one of the things that I didn't realize I did was because I didn't know how to pastor, I pastored the way I saw at my last church, which wasn't necessarily me, but it was what I knew. And it took me about 4 years to realize that that wasn't me pastoring, and I need to come out like that wasn't my brand, if you will. There's something different about me, who I was. It almost seemed like there was a demand or pull on my brand. I had the church, but there was a demand or a pull on my brand, and I noticed more my brand came out, the more I came out, then it didn't matter what product I put out, whether it was through sermons, whether it was through art, whether it was through people just seeing me work out at the gym. I realized because they respected and appreciated the brand, which was me, whatever product I put out was going to be it for them. They were going to be sold on somebody could see me, a still picture of me curling something and say, I was motivated to go to the gym. There are 50 million other people that got a picture of them, but because it's me, they respect the brand. And so one thing that caused me to start realizing how much this brand thing was important, what people don't know, I get people text me and inbox me about their personal selves, things that they can change, how they can move from here to there in their career, in their personal life, personal changes about them, their appearance. And I started thinking to myself, like, yo, that's your brand. Like, people may not even be taking you seriously, no matter how much you had to offer, because your brand is a little off. And the reason why you're emailing me or talking to me, because you need me to help you tweak your brand, because once people buy into your brand, they'll buy into whatever it is that you have to offer. So it's once I started noticing this continuum, and I just started to realize how much it's impacted my life, knowing who I was and really trying to enhance my brand from an educational standpoint, a professional standpoint, even to appearance, knowing what looks work best for me and my brand. Do I go short hair? Do I go long hair? Do I suit it up, or do I go shirts and jeans? You see what I'm saying? That's all a part of my brand. And I've noticed even as a pastor, I can be shirts and jeans and still have mothers of the church and millennials at the church at the same time, all rooting and cheering because they respect the brand.
And for those who are just tuning in, and for those who will watch the replay, we are talking about personal branding. And so, Pastor, what you were just mentioning was, you had folks contact you, and really what I gathered from that was you wanted to relay the importance of personal branding as a source of empowerment for them, for those folks.
Yeah.
So, it's wonderful to come to people and ask them, how can I be better? But if you know what it takes to get your own self better, and you can start presenting yourself in a way that's not comparing yourself with anybody else, but you know who you are, that's a sort of empowerment for you.
Right.
So when we talk about that source of empowerment for personal branding, where would you say someone needs to start in terms of like knowing who they are, knowing where they want to take their personal brand? Like, how should they even start, how should they even begin cultivating their personal brand?
There's some things about us that are just inherently who we are, that's just instinctive to who we are. And I think that, rather than trying to be copycats out there, we should really focus on trying to be authentic to who we are, what we bring to the table, but then also try to cultivate and develop what we bring to the table and be all right with what we have. Your brand can be no more than what it is. It just is what it is. It's the tools that God gave you, is what you have. So when we not only respect ourselves and what God has given us, but then take the time to humble ourselves and listen to what our consumers, our customers have to say about us as a brand. I think this fits you well. I like the way you speak, Court. You need to slow down. All that is helping me with my brand. So let me just use this from a preacher standpoint. If people were to, I've tried different things in my in my pastoral ministry because I'm building my brand based on what people say. If they're my customers, I know who I am. I have to listen to what they say to help me shape this brand that I have. So I like this, I don't like that. And some stuff is like, this ain't gonna change, that's me. But other things, if I'm trying to build a brand, once people respect my brand, they're going to want to, have my product. So it really takes a lot of looking inside, being honest and true to who you are, and allowing your customers to give you feedback on who you are so that you can use that to build brand.
It's very interesting that you mentioned that, because when we talk about personal branding, automatically, just instinctively, we want to focus on our strengths, what we do well, what we believe others shall benefit from. But what I heard you saying is sometimes you have to take into consideration what others see in you, because,
Right.
after all, if you really want to put it in business terms, those people that are pouring into you, they're actually going to be your customers. And so how can you start with something that you think you do well and offer it, and that may not even be what the customers want? So
Right.
how do you find that fine balance when knowing who you are, knowing your strengths, but also operating in a manner that pleases the folks that are, your customers?
Um, State your question again for me, because I think I was going to
So
go a different way.
yeah. So, when we start cultivating a personal brand, this is
Hmm.
my color, this is how I dress, this is how my hair is going to be, these are my strengths. So I'm just going to work on me and deploy all the things that I have.
Hmm.
But then sometimes we don't consider like what others want to see us pouring out. You
Hmm.
know,
Hmm.
how can we not always focus on our agenda
Hmm.
and really tap into what others want to see us pour out?
Right. Right. So you're at the end of the day, all of us have to determine. We're all here with purpose. We all have something that's supposed to leave in the earth, some value. You're going to have to determine, do you really want to leave this thing in the earth? Like, is God going to get the bang for the buck out of you? He's not going to get it out of you. You're not concerned about what your customers want. And that's just a good word, business word for us to use. If they're going to get best value from you, you're going to have to humble yourselves and say, look, this is in order for me to get max results and put income behind it. If I'm going to generate income from this, then I have to listen to what my customers say. Any good any good production line, any company, any business, there's always ongoing surveys and feedback. Why? Because they're trying to make sure they give the customers what they want. They don't use manufacturing a product if the customer doesn't want it. So if you only look inside, you're going to be giving people what they don't want, and that's not beneficial for anyone. The whole goal is to give people something that they want. And let me state something here. Before people buy your product, they look at the brand first. Your product doesn't mean anything like without the brand. As a matter of fact, I could take a Mercedes shell and drop it over a Hyundai engine and all the accoutrements, whatever you will, and somebody will get inside of that. If they've never driven a Mercedes, they may get inside and say, wow, this thing is nice. But they would never even know that it was a Hyundai with a Mercedes shell on it because they brought the brand. So it's like you have to, if people buy into your brand, they'll get your product. But once people start seeing what product you're offering, what gift, what talent, whatever it is, it behooves you to listen to what they're saying, or you're going to have a nice brand with no product or a product that people can rarely use.
Wow, powerful. For those who are just tuning in, I just want to let you know that we are talking about the importance and the elements of personal branding. Talk about, all these goals that we want to go after, all these images and brands that we want to project, but how can we start making sure that it's a personal brand that we're cultivating and that's benefiting our supporters?
Mm-hmm.
So feel free, those that are that have joined in, to type your comments, your questions.
Mm-hmm.
Feel free. We want to make sure that we have a dialogue today. So if you want to type us some questions or whatever you want to do, feel free to communicate with us. So, Pastor, I was looking, like I said, in one of your posts, and one thing that was very interesting was brand confusion. I remember you talking about that example about Chick-fil-A, I believe. I think you started up with that. But can you expound on your theory of brand confusion?
Brand confusion. Look, you take me back to all my posts. I'm one hit. That's all you get. Um, so I think the example I used was, Chick-fil-A is always known for their customer service, great customer service. I mean, it's just absolutely the best. And if ever I were to walk into Chick-fil-A and see something other than that, I would probably have to walk back out and look at the sign and say, am I Chick-fil-A? Am I somewhere else? This can't be the right place because obviously they're not doing business the way they always do business. So I think part of that brand confusion can be to where we're not consistent in our brand. That's one part of brand confusion. The other part of brand confusion is you don't know your brand enough to stick to whatever your brand is, so you start looking like other people. So it's one thing to diminish who you are as a brand, and it's another thing, I'll use that word again, to diminish who you are by trying to be someone else. Like, people like to go to Burger King because it's Burger King, Roy Rogers because it's Roy Rogers. You may not like it, but somebody likes it. But at the end of the day, yes, consistency. Whatever your brand is, that's what people expect. Let me tell you what, Chick-fil-A can give me a sandwich that doesn't taste the way it normally does, but because I respect the brand and I can look at the sign and they're not confused by the brand, I can say, you know what? I'll still go back tomorrow and they're gonna give me the right chicken sandwich again because there's no confusion. The customer service was great. The food looked the same. The atmosphere was the same. Maybe they just had it off day. And that's what makes the brand thing so important. Your product may have defects every once in a while, but if your brand is good, people will still come back for your product.
Monique Johnson says, yes, consistency is the key. Thank you, Monique, for that comment. Wow. I tell you, let's go a little further with this brand confusion idea. One thing that you were mentioning in your post, you were talking about people being mindful of having a consistent brand, even on social media sites.
Yeah. The bipolar Facebook posts.
Yes, and so, when people hear that, they think, what do you mean? This is my personal profile on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I can put whatever I want on there. But when we talk about personal branding, you were basically alluding to that there are some consequences and there could be some ramifications when people don't know what brand you're presenting because you put so many opposite things on your site.
Right.
What do you think about that, sir?
If you are, and see, this is, you can love and hate social media. It can be good for you. Social media can be good for you and it can be bad for you at the same time. So if you are your brand, you got to realize that your social media backs any product you put out, any gift, any talent, whatever it is that you bring to the table. Your social media page is what undergirds that, what backs that, because it's your brand. So if you have a bipolar social media page and you can excite people in that page 1 minute and then 3 minutes later exhaust people with the same page, it becomes, yo, who is it that you're trying to be? Do you want to say, you know what I'm saying, is your stuff garbage or is it high class? Is your stuff professional or is your stuff ghetto? And I know people want to get into, well, just my page, I have a right to do what I want to do. But the problem is you ain't closing no business deals. Don't nobody want to have you join in on the Facebook Live call. Nobody wants you to coach them. There's no deals. Look, there's no deals coming back and forth because watch this. I don't know what I'm getting when I'm getting you. Your product may be good, but I don't know what I'm getting when I'm getting you. And because I don't know what I'm getting when I'm getting you, what's sad is you're going to have a good product, but I'll never know because I keep getting to you that I don't want to get. You got to know you got to know what your brand is, stand by that brand, and people have to use their Facebook posts and social medias in a disciplined manner so people realize, look, that person's a professional right there. That person's this, that person's that. But there can be no confusion in it. Once there's confusion, people will go to the next person.
Absolutely. All of the viewers or you all that just logged on, we're talking about the importance and elements of personal branding. And I'm Derrick Cash, and we have Ian Edwards on here. I have a comment. We see that Monique, and this was talking about your previous comment that you mentioned. Monique Johnson says, preach. Brand consistency leads to loyal followers. Those willing to overlook the off days. Wow, that's powerful. That
Dude,
powerful.
can I say this based on that comment? You have pastors that have messed up in the pulpit significantly for various things. And while people may say, you ought to just get them out of here, they ought to be done with because of their brand, because of who they are, people may not like this. You might find a couple fall away, but they'll realize, you know what? They've been consistent up to this point, and we want to give this pastor, this man or woman, a chance because we respect and we believe in the brand. That's a perfect example of a human being being the brand. Yes, it's God's church, but a human being being a brand to such where they have a hiccup or mess up, people are still willing to hang around and even hear from them and allow them to speak into their life because they respect the brand.
And not only in the pulpit, or I'm sorry, in the church, because that is a wonderful example you just mentioned. It also extends into corporate companies, because I don't know if you all remember the Pepsi commercial. Where was it? Is her name Kylie? One of the Jenners. One of the Jenners. They had she was going out and basically giving a Pepsi can to one of the security guards or security forces, and basically relaying to the audience, well, if you want to stop all this police brutality and the shooting of unarmed folks, Pepsi will be the solution. And there was a cry for, oh, take Pepsi out, remove the commercial. Now, that shows you, though, Pepsi has extended such a consistent brand that, yes, they were going to have an off day with that commercial. But at the end of the day, I think a lot of people on here still get Pepsis when you go.
I just ordered one like yesterday, bro.
So, yeah, it's okay for them to have off day as long as the brand is consistent. I wanted to say with that social media aspect as well. One thing I learned from what you were talking about, basically, if you really want to be successful and you really want people to buy into what you're presenting, your timeline needs to have a consistent theme. Mm-hmm. I don't care what day it is, when you sent it, whatever. When I pull up the timeline, I should be able to see, okay, everything is consistent. Everything is lining up. Like you mentioned, there shouldn't be no bipolar occurrences. Now, yeah, there's going to be some times where, you may be talking about motivation and inspiration, then you just say, like, go Falcons or go Hawks, you know what I'm saying? So that's a different type of element in there, but we shouldn't have, like, oh, I think I'm the best guy in the world on this day, and next week, oh, I want to kill myself. Like, it's got to be a reoccurring thing.
When you put every brand that's out there, there's always ongoing development and innovation behind the scenes. Notice I said behind the scenes, which means there shouldn't be ongoing development and tweaking and all that in the public eye to now they're confused about your brand. When people see your brand, they should always see finished product, and the brand is going to get better over time. But people see all the behind the scenes stuff, like, when you go to the store and buy something, you don't see the thread that they used, how they messed up the pants and the process they went through and it looked horrible. No, when you go pick it up, you see those are the Levi's that I like. They're dope, they're good, and they put their best up front. If we would realize that we're our brand, we wouldn't put some of the stuff that we put out there. We'll realize that, this is, I need to have these conversations behind the scenes. Some of these emotions I can't control, I need to have behind the scenes. How I'm poking people, I need to do this behind the scenes, because at the end of the day, I need people to see the best, and this needs to be my brand, or else nobody's gonna care about my product.
Absolutely. Going back to the comment, Monique Johnson says, yes, consistent theme on your timeline, and she says, you're getting it, Derrick. Just FYI, Monique Johnson is my coach these days. I'm a coaching program that she's offering, and she teaches us how to capitalize and really exploit live video so that we can ensure that we get people supporting us that much better. So thank you, Monique, for that comment.
Thank you, Monique. Good to have you.
Absolutely. Hey, man, we're 23 minutes into this, but I think this is great for those who are just joining us. We're talking about the importance and the elements of personal branding. So, Pastor Ian Edwards, I was reading an article in Forbes magazine published this article about 3 years ago, and they were saying when you want to build a better personal brand, I wanted to ask you about this. It says, associate yourself with other powerful brands. I'm going to say that one more time for the people. Associate yourself with other powerful brands. Now, the reason why I sometimes, well, not me, but why a lot of people are so uncomfortable with that theory, because in business, you're supposed to be focused on what you're doing. You're not supposed to be trying to, most of the time, it's a cutthroat environment out there. It's like we trying to get all the money. I don't need you over here trying to copy off my brand. And we don't need to do this, and every man or woman for themselves. But in the Forbes article, it didn't say that. It said if you have a personal brand that you want to promote as a strong brand, you don't need to really try to do it alone. You need to align yourself with other powerful brands.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I understand that's what Forbes said, but do you believe that theory? And is there a time where you found that theory to be true?
Well, think about this, bro. There are no original thoughts. The most original person on this planet is not even original. They they got whatever thinking they have, whatever creativity they have has been influenced by something they've seen or heard or whatever it is. So I say that to say, number one, whatever our brand is, whatever we're producing, yes, there's some things inherently with us, but because we got eyes that can see and we can hear and do all that type of stuff. Yeah, we're getting all this information that we need to help us build our brand. So watch this. Because we're trying to build our brand and there's no original thought, part of you building is aligning yourself with other powerful entities because you want to get an idea. You want to get an idea of how you stand with those other powerful entities, at the end of the day, to see if your brand matches up. And then from a business perspective, you always want to look for a market niche. So once you see how your brand stands up to other businesses, you find the niche that they haven't hit, and then you ask yourself the question, why can't I be as successful as them? Because we're aligned, we roll in the same way. If I hit this niche, then I can prove that my brand is just as good as their brand. Like, you need to look into what they do. You need to look at their secret. You're always going to borrow something from somebody, but because of the creativity that you have, you're going to be able to flip it and do something with it that they can't do. And you all are, stand together as brands. I'm gonna plug in real quick so I don't die.
We got you. Thank you for the heart. I saw somebody just put a heart out there. We really appreciate it. It looks like they liked what you said, Pastor. So as we keep on rolling along, I want to make sure that people understand what's going on. For those who joined in, we are talking about, what'd you say? Yes, we just wanted to make sure that, Jamil Mason says, nice point. So yes, the people are really glad that you're on here, sir. So thank you for joining us again. So also, I wanted to talk about one other thing regarding the Forbes article. Are you still there, Pastor Ian? Okay, we have a delay. Are you still there, Pastor Ian? Okay, we have a delay. And I think that's all right. Monique Johnson says, I think he is temporarily disconnected. Are you still there? Okay, he temporarily disconnected. But it's all right. We're just going to keep on rolling. For those out there, I think you're back. Are you back? Oh, this is just a commercial break. Just bear with us when we go through these technical difficulties. All right, we're going to keep on rolling. For those out there, I want you to make sure that you type the comments in, talking about building personal brand. Ian Edwards says, I'm here. Are you there, sir? Are you there, sir? All right, well, look, I'm going to keep on rolling, man. Hey, when you get back together, keep on, join us, all right? All right, so we were talking about those points that were talked about in the Forbes article. We talked about it saying that when you want to build a personal brand and you figure out that you have something to give, don't just isolate yourself, but find opportunities to join yourself with a bigger brand than you. That was one of the points from Forbes. Another point was be purposeful in what you share. So whatever you're offering out there, it says be purposeful in what you share. And so what I wanted to talk about was Okay, it says Derrick tried to invite him again. Okay, let me see if I can invite you again, sir. Are you there, brother? Disconnect him and then re-invite. Okay, just disconnect him and re-invite. You see why I have all of these wonderful people on these broadcasts? Because they even coach me through these broadcasts when these things are just going crazy. So thank you, Monique. Yeah, yay!
Yo.
Yeah. Okay, so we're back, and I want to ask you one more question, and then we'll kind of wrap it up and see what others want to say. Is that all right?
Yep.
All right. So it said, be purposeful in what you share. Purposeful in what you share. What I took from that was we got to make sure that there's intentionality behind everything we do, basically. So it's like anytime that you're trying to capitalize on your gift and extend it to others, you got to be mindful of whatever action that you're doing is always strategic. We can't just live this life thinking that, oh, well, I'm just going to post this here, I'm going to post it there, and I'm going to meet this person here just in a haphazard manner. No, everything has to be with intentionality, and it has to be for a purpose. Do you agree with that idea, Pastor?
Man, that word intentionality is one of my favorite words. I probably overuse it a lot, but yeah, and you know what? I think if people think about intentionality or just purpose behind what they post and how they do things, it'll cause them to be more disciplined in what they present, especially if you're serious about you being your brand. Like if people really grab hold of that and realize, like, I am my brand. It doesn't matter what gifts and abilities I bring to the table. I am my brand. If they really took that to heart and realized me as a brand sets up every business opportunity, every relationship that I'm going to have, wealth, generational wealth, or whatever it is. If people realize that, I think that there would be more intentionality and more purpose with the posts and things that we put out. Doesn't mean you can't have fun and do other things. We do all of that. But at the end of the day, if you're your brand, it comes down to, and this is what happens when I read people's wall. Why did you post that? Like, what are you trying to do? What's that supposed to mean? What are you saying? I can't take you serious. Oh, I'm sick of seeing you today. I'm going to just log off. I'm going to delete you. You don't want people saying that about you if you're your brand. You want people to wake up in the morning saying, I wonder what he said today. I wonder how I'm going to get encouraged today. That's what you want. So it does take intentionality and being very purposeful about what you do, what you post.
Absolutely. Now, Pastor, and to the audience, I do want to let you all know, again, this is Derrick Cash and the Interludes, and we're talking about the elements and importance of personal branding. Now, I know we've been on here for a half an hour, so I do want to be mindful of you all's time. But, Pastor, this has been something that I've just been asking you about. I want to give this time to you. Is there anything that you want to ask me regarding this? Is there anything that was on your mind or whatever? Ask anything. It doesn't matter.
Hey, Derrick, you sound like a transformer. What's up with your internet?
Oh, man, you can't hear me?
You started sounding like Optimus Prime.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, you better.
Okay. I was saying that I've been asking a lot of questions to you. I just want to give this time to you. Was there anything that you wanted to ask or say that was different from what we've already talked about?
Hey, Facebook, anybody have any questions about anything? Anything you want to ask at all? We don't claim to be the experts of what we don't know we can get, but both of us are extremely passionate about seeing people fulfill their purpose. Extremely passionate about it. As a matter of fact, we'll sometimes we'll probably push you harder than we push ourselves because this thing is real. It sucks for us to see people on the sidelines of society not doing what God has called them to do, not being the best that they can be, maybe because they don't have somebody in their corner to push them and encourage them. And not push you, encourage you to be like us, push you, encourage you to be the best you. Most of our problems is that we're not even being the best us. We're being some of us, a piece of us, but not all of us. And I think what is living is being all of you, all that God has created you to be, doing it to the best of your abilities, and getting that brand out there so that people can believe in what you have to offer. This is what I teach people, and I'm looking for any questions. When you go present something to people, 50% of what you present is like you. Based on what I see, before you even open your mouth or show me a product, I'm going to make a determination how I feel about your product just based on how you present yourself, what your brand looks like to me, from how you talk to, what you look like, what you bring to the table. So if you know you are your brand, just know before you offer anything to anybody, you've already offered them your brand. And they're going to make a decision whether they want to accept it or whether they want to run from it. So, we're trying to get you all to the point, all of you gifted, talented, and beautiful people. We're trying to get you all to a point where somebody wants to see what you have to offer because they start respecting and believing in your brand. Some of you all are great people, got great stuff you have to offer, but brand is just horrible. Like I'm not saying that to be mean. It's just, how do you feel your purpose? Where do you even begin? LaRose, that's a good question. Spiritual answer is read The Purpose-Driven Life, and that's just a joke right there. That's real spiritual right there. But on the real though, there are many people out there that are asking, like, what is my purpose? Like, how do I know what it is? God gives us all something, and it's something different for all of us. And I'm just gonna say this. I think that some people keep that question, Derrick. I think that some people sidestep or overlook what their real purpose is because it doesn't look like what somebody else's is. And, I think that some people have an inclination of what their purpose may be, but in some cases it seems menial to others. So it's like, I don't want to just develop the gift of being good and compassionate to people. But you know what? In a mean world that we live in, we need good and compassionate people. You ain't got to be a preacher to be that. You ain't got to, let me get you. I'm just messing with you. But what I'm saying is, you're going to have to just spend time with God and think about what he naturally gifted you to do that seems to bring gain in your life, not necessarily monetary, but what you get a fulfillment out of. And you might realize it's your purpose. If it doesn't look as big and elaborate as somebody else's, you should be able to be all right with that as long as that is your purpose. Derrick, you caveat on that. But what I do, what I love, with or without a paycheck, because I realize my overall purpose, whether it's pastorate or outreach or being a big brother, mentoring, all the bottom line of all that is helping people. That's my purpose, is to help people. So, you can figure out what the specifics are, but,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay, I want to, I'm sorry, Dim, I'm going to cut you off, sir.
No, you good. Somebody said, you reading that question?
Try to figure it out. Jamil Mason's question is, does your brand come to you, or is it something already that you have in you that you need to unlock? Is your brand?
Yeah.
Y'all, I'm going to equate the term brand with purpose. Because I'm going to just be honest with y'all. When you're operating in a manner whereby your brand, that thing that you are giving out to the world is something you know in your heart you're supposed to be doing, that's when you operating in your gifts. That's when you know that you can't be stopped, when your brand actually is your purpose. So to answer both of you all's questions, as far as like, does it come to you? I'm going to say both. Your brand can come to you. It can be a result of you learning something in the world, something that you're passionate about, then boom, it comes. Or it could be something that is already in you that you've had since you were born, and you just have to unlock it. I don't want to spend all time on this, but sometimes we have some things that are in us since birth, but we haven't even birthed it because we are so afraid of people that we're surrounded with. Oh, what are they going to say when I birth this thing that's been me? What are they going to say when I try to do what's uniquely me? So just to answer your question, your brand can be both. It can be that thing that's already in you and you just got to unlock it, or it can be the thing that just comes to you based on you living this life. What I will say, and you know what, I am not afraid to give credit when credit is due. I do abide by the principle that Steve Harvey talks about, that when you think about your brand and your purpose, you have to talk about and work on your gifts. And what are those gifts? Those gifts are those things that you do so well that requires you the least amount of effort. I know we got a lot of missions and a lot of goals out here, but if you really want to hone in and focus on something, go pick that thing that you do so well that requires the least amount of effort. You'd be surprised at how well you can cultivate that gift. You can cultivate that thing into a brand. And so then when you're presenting that brand to everybody, it's not a matter of, oh, is he qualified? Is she qualified? You know you're qualified because you already know from testimonies of others that every time you do this one thing, they're like, oh, I couldn't have done that if I tried 10 times. But you're like, here's, and I'm going to close with this, and I'm going to let you get on here, Ian. I'm going to let you get on here. This is what I found. This is how I know I'm operating in my gift. When people ask me, how did you do that? And I immediately respond to myself, I thought everybody could do that. If you don't hear nothing else I said today, if somebody asks you, how did you do something, and you think to yourself, I thought everybody could do that, that's your gift. And you need to fall in line with that gift and cultivate that gift and commit to that brand. What's up, Pastor?
No, that's good. That's good, Derrick. My thought is that, so to Jamil, I believe that our brand is. No, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm gonna re-invite you. I'm gonna re-invite you. Yeah, re-invite you. You know how we do. Re-invite you to the broadcast.
Yeah, can you hear me?
All right, connecting. You back?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Hey, man. No, that was a great discussion, Derrick.
All right,
What I
we're
believe, and
42 minutes on this broadcast. What's up?
and this is speaking to Jamil again. What I believe is that your brand is inside of you. We're always, knowledge, experience.
Yes,
I believe that helps
breaking up.
I believe that like unlock brand, because you got to think of us, we don't know what our brand is outside of our experiences with other people. Our experience gives us that exposure. Our experience gives us that opportunity to unlock what is inside of us for us to have the realization that this is my brand. Yes, I am a problem solver. Yes, I do business well. Yes, I can handle this situation. And you'll realize that this is something that people got training in, went to school with, and just through your experiences and living, you realize like, this is me, this is who I am. So I believe that it's in you. Can y'all still hear me? Can y'all still hear me? Y'all good? I believe that it's in you, but I believe that it.
I ain't gonna lie to you. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Nah, it's breaking
Amen.
up. I think it's just bad connection.
Man, that's jacked up, man. I'm gonna have to. Long
Okay,
story
Jamil
short, if
Mason said I
anybody
hear you
can.
loud and clear.
Okay, yeah. So the main thing is, I think that it is inside of us, but I believe it comes to us as we expose ourselves to situations and circumstances that test what our brand is. When a brand is sealed, when it's given a certain amount of qualities because it's tested to be able to do a certain thing. So I believe as you pass those tests, go through those life experience, you start to realize what your brand is. And then once you know what your brand is, you have the responsibility to develop that brand. Don't know what it is and sit on it. But once you find out what it is, you have the responsibility to develop. It doesn't have to look like somebody else's. It may not be as lofty as theirs or as low as theirs. But once you realize it's your brand, man, nobody can beat your brand. That's all I got on it. Thanks, Jamil.
All right. Appreciate that, Pastor.
Yeah,
We're
man.
at 45 minutes in, and in my training that 45 minutes in on live broadcast is a good time to wrap up. So I'm just going to poll the audience. If you don't have anything else, I will start to do our recap. If you have some, go ahead and mention it. But if you don't, okay, Jamil Mason says, great information. Thank you, Pastor Ian and Derrick. Hey, man, you are
Bless
welcome.
you, Jamil.
Oh.
Yep.
Okay, Suzette Roberts says, oh, go ahead.
That's what the coaches are for, Suzette.
So I'm pretty certain what my brand is. However, I do struggle severely as to how to go about developing it. Well, Suzette Roberts, what I will tell you is replay this broadcast. It has a lot of tools in it to help us develop our brand, be confident in our brand, and deploy our brand.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Anybody else got anything?
Hey, Pastor, do you have any closing comments?
Oh, we know it's you. No, man, go ahead and you can go ahead and hey, bless you, sir. And just know this, I'll just say this.
I got it.
You, man, yeah, do the closing, man.
You breaking up, I still get a feel for what you're saying. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead and take it, because I don't want to be sounding like, you know what I'm saying. Go ahead, you got it.
All right. Well, people, I want to thank you all for joining this edition of Derrick Live. As a recap, we had on here okay, I'm trying to do my recap, but I see comments. So, Robert, cool, you two sound very animated. What's up with the voices? I don't know. I think it's just the internet. You know, this is what happens when you have live TV. Oh, not TV, but the internet broadcast. So, again, we had a
I was a
wonderful show
transformer in my
tonight.
former life.
We talked about the importance of and the elements of personal branding. We had our wonderful Pastor Ian Edwards come on here. I thank you so much for being here today, sir. Pastor Ian Edwards, tell them where they can find you on social media.
Yeah, so I don't tweet much. I probably should, and I don't use my Instagram much.
Where can they find you on social media, sir?
Find me on Facebook. That's about it. Facebook is easy. I fill up my timeline. That's where most of my videos are at, like my Pastor Ian Edwards page. But I'm for the most part a Facebook fanatic. So just look me up under my name, my personal page, Ian Edwards, or my public figure page, which is Pastor Ian Edwards. And you can find me in the gym with Mr. T. I pity the fool. It's like, just playing.
All right, sir. Sorry, go ahead. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, I'm good.
It's a delay. I'm sorry that all this is going on, but it's a delay. That's why I keep cutting you off. So let me just recap, y'all. All right. So if you're trying to figure out how to cultivate your personal brand, you need to balance. To be intentional and on purpose. And so those are just some things that we talked about. So do us a favor before we wrap up. When you listen to this broadcast, make sure you share this broadcast with everybody that's possible to receive this broadcast. And if you have any other comments, you can contact myself on Facebook. You can contact Ian Edwards, and we're going to make it do what it do. Thank you, Pastor Edwards.
Thank you, man. You was fading there for a minute, had me cracking up, but I think you all right now.
All right.
Yeah, you probably, yeah.
All right. We'll talk to you later, all right? Appreciate you, man.
All right.
All right, bye.
Peace, y'all.